Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. I hate when I get drawn into something. You know what I mean? I hate, and I probably should just ignore idiots out there. But I got a troll on Twitter who thinks that he knows everything. He is truly a Dak Prescott hater. He thinks that, it's the dumbest thing in the world. That literally, this is the same guy that was basically saying, or one of these people that literally will say, I'll take, Jimmy Garoppolo over Dak Prescott, or Derek Carr over Dak Prescott. That they literally will take anybody over Dak Prescott. And now his thing is, don't pay Dak. Sign Andy Dalton, because Andy Dalton's a winner. Andy Dalton's a winner because he's got a better record with Dak Prescott, than Dak Prescott had this year. Even though the defense is actually getting the ball, special teams are playing well, Zeke's running. We don't put any of that into consideration. We don't do that. But he believes, or here is the idea that he has. Sign Andy Dalton for about $18 million. Sign Andy Dalton for about $18 million. Trade Dak for picks and take the money you save and use that to buy defenders. That sounds good in theories, but that goes with a couple assumptions. That assumes that Andy Dalton is going to be good continuously going forward, that there won't be any drop-off, that there won't be, that we're not just having like a 3 or 4 games of playing well. I get that. I see where you're going with this, and understanding that you can't spend a whole lot of money on quarterbacks. But the idea that you have on here doesn't exactly work, because basically that's what the Washington football team was actually trying to do or contemplate doing. Because in the offseason, I remember during the Super Bowl, I was there at the Super Bowl, and the Washington football team signed Alex Smith. I was like, whoa, that came out of left field, while Kirk Cousins was still with the team. And they thought, well, if we franchise tag Kirk Cousins, we can trade him. Somebody will trade for him. But the problem is this. Here's the problem. Great idea in theory. You have to go ahead and say, I'm going to franchise tag you Kirk Cousins at whatever amount of money. We also had to sign a contract with Alex Smith. Now, all that money is tied up between those two guys. And then you have to be able to trade Kirk Cousins. Washington thought about it, but they realized, what if nobody decides they want to give up compensation for him? Now we got 2 quarterbacks that are in contract. And until we do, we're hamstrung. So here's the thing. Here's the problem. In order to trade Dak Prescott, come the end of the season, he is a free agent. You don't own his rights to trade him. The only way you can own his rights would be sign him to a franchise tag. You can say, I'm tagging Dak Prescott. Anybody have any offers for Dak Prescott coming off the injury? Anybody? Oh, one other thing. You can commit and say we're franchise tagged, but you can't trade him unless he signs the tag. Thus saying, okay, I'm okay with you trading me to the Bears. Because even though you prevent him from going out in free agency, he's not your employee until he signs. But that $37 million is committed. That's the first problem. And going into this offseason, you have $23 million of cap space. So now, keeping him at that $37 million, you're going to have to either restructure some contracts, or you're going to have to let some people go. And until you trade him, you've got no money. Okay, here's the second problem. This is why you're stupid or you don't understand the business of football. Alex Smith, wow. Andy Dalton becomes a free agent March 15th. March 15th, he can negotiate with anybody. Now, here's what you could do. You might be able to use the restricted tag on him. I'm not sure. Not sure if you can still, with the new collective bargaining agreement, if you can still use 2 tags. If you can use the transitional tag on him, problem is, he's going to be paid the average of the top 5 in the category. So that's about $34 million. Oh, okay. All right. Hypothetically, you go through, you clear out cap space. We restructure some more contracts, okay? We go to D-Law and say, hey, D-Law, man, we're going to write you another check, and we're going to kick some of that money down the road so we get $10 million here. Zach Martin will do that, and we'll get some more money off of you. And, we'll go through and we'll restructure some of these deals to get some money. Because then you're going to have to get a deal for Andy Dalton because he's a free agent. And right now with teams like, say, San Francisco thinking that Jimmy Garoppolo, he can't stay on the field. The Bears, Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky. Washington, is Alex Smith still really the guy for us going forward? Hell, there's a number of teams that would look at him as being a starting quarterback. Now, understand, he took this year's deal to kind of get himself a year off, get his worth up, because leaving Cincinnati, his numbers weren't good. Now his stock has risen. If you're Andy Dalton, you want to get paid. Now keep in mind here, because you're thinking, oh, we can just we'll pay him $18 million. He'll take $18 million. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he will take $18 million. I won't count on that because I'm sitting here looking. Teddy Bridgewater is getting 21. That's kind of like the bottom of the quarterbacks that are there. Derek Carr is getting like 23. He might be replaced. Hell, Jacoby Brissett is getting 27. Alex Smith is getting 23. So why would Andy Dalton, who has the potential of 4 or 5 teams wanting him to be their starting quarterback, why would he turn around and say, oh, I'll just take 18? He might take 25, might take 24. But be that as it may, it's still less money than what you'd have to pay Dak. I get you on that. But now, the problem is, by the beginning of the league year, let's just for the sake of argument, we'll say 23. 23. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. Because we're just making the numbers easy. So now you're tying up $37 million with Dak Prescott until you trade him. But on the books, it's $37 million. Now you're signing Andy Dalton, $23 million. That's $60 million that you have tied up, at least temporarily, until somebody signs Dak or trades for him. So guess what? You got to create that room. You got to come up with $60 million. You got 25. You got to come up now with another $35 million. And you're probably not going to be able to trade him until people get a look to see how his leg is. Now, you're doing the thing that you're talking about not being able to do, which is sign players. Because you're not going to be in free agency in the beginning. You're not going to be in free agency in the beginning. And if, hypothetically, you don't get enough compensation for what you're looking for, now you got 2 quarterbacks under contract. Yeah. And as I look around here, I'm just curious, how many teams are winning with just quarterbacks that are so-so? I'm just curious. As I look back here at some of the recent Super Bowl winners. I see Tom Brady. I see, Pat Mahomes. I see Peyton Manning. I see Drew Brees. I see Aaron Rodgers. Did see Flacco there that one year, but they had an all-world defense. I don't see a lot of quarterbacks that really have not been great. But maybe I'm just stupid. But I don't see how that whole idea that you have works. All right. It gets to be exhausting sometimes dealing with these trolls, man. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Peace.